Hey, so Ruler Skadi just had her first appearance over in FGO JP, and we got to see what her skills are and everything like that, and I gotta say, I'm a bit disappointed. This summer for FGO JP has been absolutely loaded. First, we had Lady of Avalon coming out to provide Arts Merlin capabilities, basically, and she's quite good at it and a very good servant. And then we had Summer Ibuki Doji come out as the absolute #1 arts looping berserker out there. Data Redacted is absolutely in shambles now because of how good she is. And these two are 2 out of 3 of the banners that are coming out to the summer, and they've been fantastic servants and everything like that. I can especially attest to Ibuki, as I have her myself, and she is pretty ridiculously good. Also, she's got that cheerleader outfit, which does things for me. Anyway, the only one left to show off is Ruler Skadi. So, Ruler Skadi is going to definitely be something that, regardless of how good she actually is going to be very popular because of hentai. But let's go over what she can actually do, because we got to see what she can actually do, and then data numbers were mined. So we'll take a look at those, and I'll explain why I'm a bit disappointed with her. So first off, her first skill, we've got Primeval Rune, is what that Japanese says. It is the ability to increase an ally's quick performance for 3 turns, increasing their critical damage of any buster cards for 3 turns. The quick goes up to 50%, and the buster crit damage goes up by 100%. It's on a 6-turn cooldown. So, right away, it's the same quick up that Caster Skadi gives, but instead of a quick damage, it is a buster crit damage that goes up for 3 turns. Already, we're starting to see some weirdness coming out of this. Number 2, her second skill is called Midsummer Ice Cream. This increases the party's attack for 3 turns by 20%, your standard charisma buff. Then it gives a quick and a buster up for 3 turns of 15% on each of them. And she also puts a star regeneration onto herself for 3 turns at 15 stars a turn. So, again, a solid skill, but we're seeing this quick and buster split, where it's starting to where it favors the front load of quick, but then after that front load, it favors buster in terms of using the stars that you created. And then we go over and we take a look at her third and final skill, and this is called Late Summer Dreaming, I think that's how that translates. Anyway, that's not important. Charge an ally's MP gauge by 50% at max level. Give them buster card absorption, 5,000% higher star gathering for 3 turns, and gain 15 critical stars up front. So, once more, all about those buster crits. And then finally, if we take a quick look at her MP is a damage-dealing MP, Gate of Aegir, which deals damage to all enemies, reduce their MP gauge by 1, increase her MP damage on a waterside battlefield for 1 turn, and deal extra damage against lawful alignments. Honestly, her MP really isn't that important because she is a ruler class, and as we have seen throughout the years, a ruler class servant that is based around doing damage is not very good, with very few minor exceptions. The only one that's been consistently good is probably Himiko. You can argue Estrella a little bit, but all the others have been really kind of way to the wayside of ruler classes that are more in the supporting or kind of tanking role. Generally, you're not going to see the ruler class be used for damage that much unless their skills are really overtuned for it. Just because ruler doesn't do a whole lot in terms of extra damage, and instead you can out-damage ruler with just about any other class. So already I'm not a big fan of her MP, but if we take a look at all of her skills put together, every single one of her skills gives an upfront quick buff or a bunch of stars and then something for buster. Which means that instead of this being a servant that comes out that helps quick, which is what I was really hoping for. Because if we take a look at everything that the 3 cards have in terms of their support servants, and the support servants make the card color. The proper support servant allows the proper card color to do what it wants to do. If you want to loop with Buster, you use Koyanskaya. If you want to do a long fight with Buster, you use Merlin. You want to loop with Arts, you use Castoria. You want to do a long fight with Arts, you use Castoria. Probably should. You can add to Mamo there, but you're going to use Castoria. If you want to loop with Quick, you're going to use Skadi. If you want to do a long fight with Quick, a challenge fight, you kind of don't have options, do you? You use Castor Artoria because the one thing Quick is really, really, really lacking in their domain is a support servant that gives longevity to the servants, that gives the most important thing when it comes to longevity, and that is defensive buffs. Everything about Quick is all offensive buffs. In fact, this new Ruler Skadi, it's all offensive buffs. Skills 1 and 2 and 3 are all just pure offensive stuff, and the NP is a damage-dealing MP. And on top of it, when it comes to just a pure Quick support setup, she's worse than Caster Skadi overall. So the only thing she's really doing is she's providing a niche where the servant wants upfront quick burst, like say a quick MP, but then has a bunch of buster cards to fall back to crit with. And when it comes down to it, there aren't a whole lot of servants that really do that. I mean, I can count off the top of my head a whole, I don't know, one, and it's this one. Summer version of Okita Alter. She has her own exclusive 5-star support servant coming out in the form of Ruler Skadi. However, Ruler Skadi is going to fall to the wayside because she's going to be worse than Caster Skadi for helping out the quick servants, and not as good at helping out the buster servants as the other servants. The only thing she's going to be really good for is going to be coming out there and being a good plug suit swap to throw her buffs and then just swap her out because you don't want her on the field anymore and you want an actual support. And that's going to be a very niche role. It's going to really push her to the wayside, and it's once again going to put us in a situation where Quick can't compete with the other two colors at anything. Because if you want to do your 3-turn farming, Arts is more efficient at it. Buster does more damage at it if you've got your Koyanskaya set up. And Arts is better at the looping if you want to guarantee that you can do the loop. If you want to do your challenge quest, unless you can 100% guarantee that you're going to 3-turn it before your Caster Skadi buffs wear out, you're not going to be able to rely on Caster Skadi past that point, because without her buffs up, her MP isn't going to do you much in trying to survive to that next buff, because it gives you a single hit of evasion, and that's it, no matter what. It gives you a bit of damage cut, but a bit of damage cut doesn't matter if the enemy crits you for 12,000 and you lower it by 400, right? It's got no healing, it's got no health, max health gain, it's got no NP gain beyond the first skills, and it's really disappointing, especially after they just buffed Quick in general by saying if you start with a Quick card, you got extra buffs. If you do a Quick chain, you got improved buffs over what used to happen, which was really nice. And I thought, okay, they just did that. They're admitting that and realizing Quick is in a bit of a weaker position than the others, and it's time to try and even the odds a little bit. Tilt the scales. Ruler Skadi. All right, they're taking Skadi, they're going to put her into a ruler class, making her great for longevity fights just through the simple fact that her class has extra defense just from that. All they got to do is give her some skills that are defensive, and it's all offensive, and it's half Quick, half Buster, meaning she's half the effectiveness of what you want to see, and there's maybe 5 servants total that are really going to enjoy her. So once more, lasagna half-bakes their idea, and nobody wants a half-baked lasagna. I'm suggesting to everyone that you actually skip out on Ruler Skadi, especially if you already have Caster Skadi, because she's going to be worse than Caster Skadi, and she's not really going to be that amazing. You'll see some videos where people show off her being really good, but those videos are going to show off her strengths after the fact that other servants have really done the heavy lifting. And she'll have her niche now and again, but her niche is going to be far less filled than any of the other support servants you could possibly pick. And when it comes to dealing damage herself, I said it before, Ruler is not a good class for trying to deal damage. Their stats are always going to be more leaning towards the defensive than the offensive, and unless the Ruler class is truly broken with their skills to buff their own damage numbers, they're really not going to be able to compete. Again, the main reason that a servant like Himiko is doing as well as she is because she is guaranteeing literally almost 50 stars per turn just by herself. And she has self buffs to increase her crit damage by 100%, and her buster damage by 100%, and overcharge the party's MP so that every Castoria MP gives them 3 guaranteed defensive hits. She's nuts. Ruler Skadi is not nuts. She's probably going to be hot, but she's not going to be nuts, and that's real unfortunate. So hey, you know what? You might want to save your quartz on this one. There might be a better servant coming around the corner. In fact, there probably is. So unless you're pulling for an absolute waifu pool and that's it, no real reason to pull for Ruler Skadi. Again, a bit of a disappointment. But good luck for anyone that decides to pull.